There's somebody who is paid by taxpayers at the National Transport and Safety Authority to ensure there is safety on our roads. He's here. He's next. He's Dr. Andrew Kiplagat. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us for Fixing the Nation. We'll have this conversation on, you heard what the chair of the Boda Association was saying earlier. You know, of course, the concerns that have been there from the public, from Boda operators themselves, and so many other things going on. Jano, please remind Daktari, today's quotable quote.
Ooh, today's quotable quote. This was said by somebody who is the lead singer of a very, very popular Kenyan pop group. If you follow Kenyan pop music, they've sung at weddings many times. They've now toured the world. There are 4 of them. I'll read the quote and then you can see whether or not you identify who this person is. But it says simply, be a child, be a student, just be patient. Who said that?
I'm not very sure I can identify who.
Yes.
But you think you can get the group, Sauti Sol, the lead singer of Sauti Sol?
Yeah, I was tempted to think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Bien, his name is Bien. He's the lead singer of Sauti Sol. Right. And he said that about achieving success. Be patient. Just be patient, be a student. That's what the meaning of the quote is. Yeah.
I quite like that quote. Patience is something we lack on the roads. A lot of us, at least, lack on the roads, particularly when we're on a Boda. I want to start with a comment from our YouTube. This is from Carrie, and she's speaking to what Kevin, who is the chair of the Boda Association, was talking about. He's saying when you're carrying people, they're in a hurry. They're like, get me to where I'm going. That's why I chose a Boda. If I wanted to stay in traffic, I would have driven or I would have gotten on a matatu, right? So, but Carrie says, I might want to get to work faster, but safety is my priority. They seem not to care. Seen a helmet, you're busy overtaking, and they will not listen when you express your concern. That's the case of many people who have been passengers on Bodas, or whether they asked or not, whether they said nipeleke haraka or not, still. But from an individual perspective, of course, you should have worn the helmet as a passenger, right? Why is it so hard to regulate this industry? The chairperson spoke to the fact that when it began, there was no regulation, so we are playing a game of catch-up. But honestly, since Kibaki's tenure, it's been almost 2 decades now.
Yeah, possibly the best place to start is what you said here about patience. We seem to be in so much of a hurry, and we also seem to have given our responsibility to other people, because if we start from the very basics, it's us as individuals that we are putting ourselves at risk. Yeah, there are so many risks about this that is brought by the hurry that we are having, given the circumstances that we are operating in. And if we would take more responsibility as individuals, because you're asking the question of why is it so hard to regulate. We will possibly delve deeper into that later, but if we as individuals could take more responsibility, because we're talking about our own lives here. If anything should happen, the first person to be affected by this is us, isn't it? If there would be a crash, it's me, either the rider or that pillion passenger, who will be affected. If something happens, it's me, the pillion passenger, who accepted to be a second pillion, isn't it? Or a third, isn't it? So I think this, we need to reflect more about what is it about us that we throw caution and thereby increase a lot of risks on us, even as now we walk the journey of where does responsibility go, isn't it? Because that doesn't mean that the government, and you rightly put here, that there has been quite a lot of efforts by government, previous governments, and even these ones to do something. But at the end of the day, who stands to be affected most? So I think at some point maybe we could
let me draw a parallel with the matatu industry.
Yes.
Lawless for a long time. I mean, at the beginning, structured KBS, I hear good stories. I'm like, wow, you could wait for a bus at this time. Wonderful, wonderful. Then lawlessness. Then Michuki comes in, and these people who seemed to be unable to self-regulate and to ask, why am I standing? Why am I the 15th passenger, 16th, 17th in a 14-seater? All those people followed the rules. and there was some normalcy in the matatu sector for a while. Even now, as much as we've regressed a little bit, we're not back to where we were. So I don't, as much as yes, tunajiuliza, but now when you're here, tunakuuliza. I can ask myself, Mariam, why do you get on a Boda without a helmet? But I can ask you, where is the regulation?
Okay. Yeah, so having noted that, and I believe we've noted that, the government has been doing its best to ensure that we have regulations to help in the governing of this sector, Boda and PSVs. And if we look back, I think the sector, the Boda sector opened around 2005. And when these opened, there are no regulations. The regulations that came in place was in 2015. That's when we, the NTSA regulations that's on operations of motorcycles were passed. And since this is 2025, 10 years later, we're still struggling to enforce, to ensure that actually we feel the impact of that. And there's been a lot, and I know you've discussed a lot with Kelvin, who was here, that this sector, we're talking about, I think from our records, from our data, we have about 4 million registered Bodas. Okay, the regulations demands that to operate a motorcycle, and you need to first, in fact, we could say that to buy a motorcycle, the vendor or the person selling will sell you the motorcycle and give you 2 helmets, and they'll give you 2 reflectors. Okay. Now, to operate a motorcycle, you will need to have a license. That's class A, I think A2. You will need to have the 2 helmets, and you'll need to have the 2 reflective jackets. Very clearly. If it's commercial, if you're using it for commercial purposes, then you need to be a member of a circle, and it in fact prescribes what number of that circle. Now, so in as far as the laws, I know recently we had a bill even by one senator, I think Senator of Kakamega, trying again to introduce something, and I think the emphasis was more on the role of counties in management of Boda. But the bottom line is, from where I sit, that we have the regulations in place. We have, and if it was to be, if we were to succeed in implementing the spirit and the letter, then it should be able to adequately take care of our safety in as far as use of Bodas are concerned. So the question then that possibly would be discussing, and this which I would say has been a big challenge, is the enforcement. Why haven't we succeeded in enforcing this law? Because it's through enforcement that we can feel the impact of this particular law, and that's where that's the elephant in the room. That's what we are trying to grapple with every single day to see how can we get this implemented.
Dr. Kiplagat, what is this? If it's an elephant, it's so big, you can see it, right? So why are we having challenges in implementation? These regulations have been in place for 10 years now. NTSA has been in place for long. The police service in this country has been in place since independence. Why are we having a problem implementing laws that are there?
No, the implementation is going on, is happening, because that's what we do every day. Yeah, and now we've not got the results that we want, that we desire out of this. And if I can cite some of the things that are happening, because even as we speak, the people asking the same questions, that these laws are in place, why haven't we been able to do that? But then if you look at the operation of the Boda is last mile. Okay, last mile, meaning then, and I believe even us now, if we need to send milk home, we can call someone and milk will get home. And when people buy Bodas, just to understand the industry, who operates these Bodas? Most of the time, our young people who possibly after school, maybe class 8 or form 4, they go to a field somewhere. When they are able to move, then they come to the road. Okay. Now, one of the requirements is that the sheer number that we are talking about. This is about. We're talking about registered 4 million. Maybe it could be less because of what attritions. So managing this number in itself is something big. Where they operate in Mashinane, they're getting that, because if you look at the streets or the areas they operate, I know most are in towns, but a lot more are down there. Getting there to enforce has been a challenge. Okay, so the numbers, the places that they operate in, and thirdly, again, is, I think it was mentioned here, that the changing political effect or impact of this, so that then at certain times it becomes very difficult to deal with them, because of the prevailing political things. But then that doesn't, it's no excuse. So what we've been trying is to find ways of dealing with this. And one of the things which we consider as great success is that within the NTSA Act, there is a provision for county transport and safety committees. As we speak, 38 of them have been cassetted, and I think the remaining 9 are on their way. Out of these 38, about 20 have been operationalized. And one of the things that we are pushing support from the counties, because when we talk of last mile, it means that counties are closer to the last mile that we are talking about than we are. So what is to push this particular enforcement, so that then besides the police, then we can have enforcement from the using the county structures, so that then we can try and see if we can get this done.
Just before you go on, you had mentioned one of the challenges that you're facing, being the political winds changing, time to time. Are Bodas weaponized by political actors?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say that they are weaponized, but we all know, because politicians sometimes, this is a group that can easily be mobilized to support political, but then just like even politicians would mobilize women groups, so we could just say that this is one of the groups that can politicians use to mobilize their support and see if they can further their political intentions.
Then how does it become a problem from a regulation
So the problem then becomes, because when sometimes we have experiences that you go to some place, you want to push certain things, then there could be that influence that these are my people. Like, for example, licensing. If you go to, when we are sensitizing, you ask a group of maybe 100, how many of you do have licenses? Possibly less than 10% will say that they have licenses. Now, if legally, you'd need to remove the 90, isn't it, so that you can remain. But then, if you look at the impact of this 90 on the economy, because one, we know that Boda employs, isn't it? So one way, of dealing with employment will be through this sector, and it has played a very big role. The other thing could be, so if you are to bring and say that because you do not have a license, then you shouldn't operate, that would create some political friction, because then these are supporters of...
Before we continue with that, we have a caller on the line, Jeremiah from Nakuru. So hold that thought. Jeremiah, if you can hear us, do you have a question or contribution that you'd like to make? Do we have Jeremiah on the line? Okay, it's like he's dropped.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Nisha,
yes.
to Eric's point.
Yes, Eric.
I'm wondering why we have to apply a law for different people in same law.
Yeah.
This same law operates. I mean, there are laws in Kenya that should cover everybody. Now we are starting to say that this one because there'll be political friction, so let's allow these guys to operate without a license because
that shouldn't be the case.
Exactly.
What does the law say?
Yes.
The law says that you shall go through training, and after training you shall be examined, and if you pass, then you shall get a license, and after having a license, you shall then ride a motorbike. Right?
Yes.
Right.
Now, why do we want to skip those stages?
Now, Eric,
This is causing the deaths that we are seeing.
yeah, Eric, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. We are talking about challenges. Why haven't we been able to do this? Isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. And these are some of the challenges that have happened in the past. So the question then that we are dealing now is how are we addressing those challenges? Okay, and I've given here one example. Say because of those many things, we need to look at alternative, or rather, how do we go around these challenges? And I've indicated that as we speak, we have the county transport and safety committees. What do we seek to achieve from this? Yeah, is that they'll bring in support in enforcement, because even as we remove, we remove the non-compliant, then we'll have added some additional layer of enforcing. Yeah, why? Because within the counties, if they are to operate, then the people who will license them or give them spots for operating will be the counties. And one of the things is that for you to be given space to operate, then you need to meet the conditions. This is something that was not there previously. And this is what we hope that it will help us in supporting that.
When is there a deadline? Can we say, so right now 38 county transport and safety committees have been registered with NTSA.
It's gazetted, it's not registered, it's
gazetted.
Yes.
20 are in operation. We have 47 counties in this country, Dr. Aring.
Yes.
Is there a deadline that by this time, all counties shall have committees gazetted? By this time, all of these committees shall be in operation. And by this time, this is the deadline. Mishuki, this is the deadline. Kama hauna safety belt, kama hauna uniform, kama hauna nini, not being on the road.
Before we speak to the deadline,
yes.
just to double check, I think I've been told Jeremiah is back on the line. Is that okay? Jeremiah, please, if you can hear us, Karibu Sana, let us know your contribution to this conversation. Okay. Hello, Jeremiah.
Hello.
Unatupata?
Eh.
Okay. Uko na swali?
Yeah, no, I just want to give an input.
Okay. Please go ahead, Jeremiah.
Hello?
Yes.
Jeremiah, please switch off your TV so it doesn't confuse you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Jeremiah Kuto. I'm calling from Nakuru. And I'm one of those people who, I've retired. I used to work at the county, Nakuru County, as a program officer of HIV/AIDS. And I've been listening to the discussion. I just wanted to know really whether the activities we were carrying out made any difference in the community. For example, we have the prevention measures when it comes to HIV/AIDS. We have like the use of condoms, male, female. We have the prevention of mother-to-child transmission. We have pediatric ART. We have home-based care, male medical circumcision program, stigma and discrimination program, voluntary counseling and testing, even the key populations program. Are you getting me?
Yeah. What's the question?
So the question is, in all our counties within the country, we have the people we are calling HIV coordinators. And I think they have been doing quite a
Jeremiah, I'm not sure we're having the same conversation.
Yeah.
You're having a conversation about, you're asking about HIV. We are talking about road safety and Bodas.
Bodas, yeah.
Then I'm in the wrong
Okay.
program.
Yeah.
South.
Sorry.
I thought she was going to make a comparative
I thought so
question.
too.
Right.
Actually, that's what I was
But I think Latif had a question
we
first
are-
about the deadline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Andrew.
The 9 remaining should be coming out any time, because the process also sometimes. So we hope by June we'll be through with that.
Daktari,
Yes.
is there a deadline that NTSA has set and said, by this time, we want to have all the committees registered?
Yes.
By this time, we want them operational. By this time, we should start seeing that all Bodas in all the countries are operating under this framework. Timelines.
We have set our own deadline,
Which
and
was?
that's by June, to be able to have operationalized all the 47 CTSs. Okay, and we
By June means end of June or beginning of June?
End of June is
June
our
30th.
own organizational deadline that we've set to ensure that they are all in place and operational. And part of the things then, and remember, we are not only dealing with Bodas, but part of the things that we really seek to achieve using CTSCs is this management of Bodas. But besides that, the other thing that we've pushed and the process has started is registration of Bodas. And one of the things that we want to do with this is that we do not know who these guys are who are operating, because in our systems, they are not licensed, okay? So we are going out to engage with them and create a database of the riders, so that then we can be able to create programs first to bring them into licensed regime, because that's the biggest thing. Secondly, help whenever there are programs, because one of the things that we realize is that the Bodas play quite a number of roles. One of them is even fast responding. Yeah. So to try and see how to empower them, but you'll realize then that it will take a process, or rather.
Is there any collaboration with now the Boda Association, because they're doing something quite similar?
Yes.
And they've onboarded. They've given us a number to dial when we want to make complaints, to register, and they're making a platform to make sure that you can find every Boda rider there, and you get to see. You might not see their details, but at least you will know this license is. This Boda is licensed or owned by person X.
Yes, there are quite a lot of collaborations. In fact, with the chairman of Boda, Kevin, we are engaging to see how we can collaborate on that. Not just him, there are many other people, partners, Bled Dog Network, people who are doing something on Boda. We are trying to reach out and see if we can synergize to push this agenda of Boda safety forward, yes.
But it's a bit jarring that the association got to this point before the NTSA, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they have a USSD code up that allows you to register as a rider. Yeah, before the NTSA.
Right.
No, I don't think that's right. Because previously, and I think this was when, if you remember an incident which happened in Nairobi.
Yep.
Yeah.
On
There was a
Wangari
system,
Road.
yes. There was a system which was built, and actually even in our database, I think we have about 500,000.
So let's
Okay.
talk about
Yes.
talk about that system and how far you've gone after this break. It's
Yes.
9:30. It's actually 29 minutes to 9. We're having a conversation with Dr. Andrew Kiplagat, the Director of Road Safety at NTSA. It's about Boda safety. We'll be back shortly. Yep. Yep, indeed. Now, according to data from the National Transport and Safety Authority, 4,748 people lost their lives on the roads between January 1st and the 31st of December last year. 4,748 people. Now, this is a very huge number. Many of those deaths were contributed by or involved motorcycles, Bodas. And that's why we're having a Boda conversation this morning. With us now is Dr. Andrew Kiplagat, the Director of Road Safety at NTSA. And we're asking, so what has the NTSA been doing?
Exactly. And I think we can also try and bring in some questions from the public. A lot of people engaging us on YouTube. We have Re-Exo, who says, or actually 9 to 9 has a good one. The training of the Boda people should be subsidized in driving schools to ensure these people can afford to pay and be trained properly before they start working. Enable them, then enforce later. And I think that element of training, in many ways, it starts there. Even that shocking statistic that Latif has given, even what we heard from Kevin, I think if we don't regulate it from the very basis of training, we don't know what the capabilities are. We don't know how these people respond in certain cases. So I don't know if you've highlighted that in any way, but how can we ensure, over and above all the questions we've asked you, training is paramount? It's a non-negotiable. How are we ensuring that?
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. And we recognize that, and actually one of the strategies that we are trying to push to be able to improve or to bring the riders on the licensed regime is through training. And if I can use an example, in Kericho region of NTSA, this has really worked very well, and this is out of partnerships. Partnerships how? The team in Kericho has engaged with the leadership of Kericho region, and this encompasses Bomet and Kericho, to support in the training of the riders, and the outcome of this training will be the license. And as we speak now, I think they're going almost to 2,000 of trainings that have happened, which has led to obtaining of the license. And this has made a lot of impact, because when the riders go through this process, before they get the license, then they get exposed to the highway code, what happens in the road, to the regulations, that's operation of motorcycles regulations of 2015, and this will have an impact. And if you look at the statistics of this particular region, it's actually lower as compared to other places. And this is the strategy that we are trying to implement, so that then we also support the riders to comply or to be in the compliance regime. Many people are buying the idea because there is one driving school that has actually run a program whereby I think it's a 61-day program, and in this case, riders themselves pay 100 shillings per day for these 61 days. And if you look at the cost involved, is that about 5,000 of that will go to the licensing. So it's actually to take in this group for 61 days is more about partnership and support, because there is nothing, I mean, there is very little that they are getting, less than 1,000 that they are getting. And this, I think, if we say this is partnership with AA Kenya, and the first batch will be, they've completed the program and will be graduating soon. And this then becomes a strategy that we want to push across even CTSs, because there are some counties we are engaging, and they have indicated to us that they are putting away some funds as training to support this. And although it's small scale now, we are starting, this is something that we want now to push once we have operationalized the 47, so that then it becomes small impacts that cumulatively bring a change. And we expect to monitor using the statistics that Eric has read here to see whether that will have impact as we move forward. Because it's a problem, we appreciate, we acknowledge, but then we can only make a change if we are able to get strategies that can bring these small results that we've seen in some places that we've implemented.
Right.
NTSA's mandate, sorry, Mariam.
No, it's okay, go on.
NTSA's mandate to register and license motor vehicles, conduct motor vehicle inspection and certification, regulate public service vehicles, advise government on national policy with regards to roads transport sector, develop and implement road safety strategies, facilitate education of members of the public on road safety, conduct research and audits on road safety, compile inspection reports on traffic accidents, establish systems and procedures, and oversee the training, testing, and licensing of drivers, formulate and review curriculum of driving schools, and coordinate the activities of persons and organizations dealing in these matters. Now, this is what you are supposed to do, right?
And we are doing.
You are doing it, but it sounds to me that you are doing it, you're seeking collaboration of support here, some well-wisher here, some good organization that comes into your job is to ensure that there is safety on our roads at policy level and in very many cases at implementation level. We have a killer sector on our roads, Bodas. We are still talking about seeing ways in which we can help, bring rain in the Boda, train these people, deal with the political pressures and so on and so forth. It seems like NTSA does not feel it has the teeth. NTSA Kibogoyo.
That's not right, Eric.
Exactly.
That's not right, Eric. Because how do we enforce this? It should possibly be the question that we are...
Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Janet, you've seen those NTSA green vehicles on the roads, right? When you see those vehicles, what do you know? Enforcement.
Right.
Okay.
Alcoblo. We have seen NTSA on the roads on Alcoblo. We have seen NTSA on Salga and other highways, those Peugeots, and this is about speed and enforcement. We don't see NTSA anything when it comes to motorbikes.
Now, if you look at the same act that you've read, NTSA mandate is about regulating the transport sector. If you look at what the Constitution says, that transport is a devolved function, but then there is the role that is taken care of by the national, which is more of policy and regulations. There is the role that is taken care of by the counties, which is more about now enforcement of the same. This has been defined very clearly in law. When it comes to regulations, we've indicated here, okay? We've gone ahead and indicate that for this to be effective, we would need to collaborate in the discharge of this particular function. And have indicated here that we have a structure which we are operationalizing, okay? Which will play a big role in that. But then remember, we also say that road safety is a shared responsibility. Shared responsibility in which ways? That the different levels of users, from government all the way, and even from the users, have particular roles. The government will put in place the regulations like it has done. The counties supported, and that's why we've established the county transport and safety committees. And the next level now is about enforcing the same. These particular committees have not been there. That's why I'm saying that we have 38 now, and we are looking forward to completing the 9 that are remaining, so that then we go to the next level of addressing this. And this will be trying to deal with the challenges because it was not in place previously.
There's a challenge I'm having, and I'm realizing I'm not the only one, as I'm looking through the comments on YouTube, which is all well and good with the regulation, the collaboration, the legislation, but if they don't work, we end up nowhere. This is Jimmy Gakio. Actually, no, Rick XO. Our country is full of broken systems, and they want the public to follow the process of the law. No follow-up, too many cooks spoil the broth. Another one on the same says, all this training and the system doesn't work. It really just doesn't help anybody. Train, legislate, plan, but then qua ground, nothing.
Especially in light of the fact that the accidents, they've been there. This is from last year, but they've been there for years. I'm also struggling to reconcile what is it that is really not working from the system point of view, and whether no matter what collaborations you seek, you will probably still come back and circle and find the same issues. I don't think this road carnage issue will change with Bodas based on some of the information you've shared today. It just sounds like we wait until things escalate, and then we say, okay, now I think we need to collaborate with these guys and then find a way to. Then at the end of next year, probably it'll be, okay, maybe now we need to find a way to collaborate with another set of people. It's
We've
going around.
Collaborated with the riders. Now let's collaborate with the passengers. Or
I've not gotten any clarity, per se, on what exactly is broken in the system.
Okay. Maybe let me approach it this way, that one of the biggest issues that we are trying to deal with, which we believe would possibly have a bigger impact, is the licensing. Licensing to ensure that only riders who have licenses operate, and this license will assure us of the fact that they've gone through the process of being trained on the various things that are important for safety is done. So the question then that we are doing, enforcement, of course, that is constant, and that's what we are trying to push. But then to increase the number of people who have licenses, we need to do something, okay? So we'll do enforcement through the police, through what we do, and through what counties are doing. But then, since the sector is huge and having quite a number of people, then it will be important to be able to increase the number of riders who have the licenses, so that then we have more in the compliance regime. And to do this, that's why these collaborations that we are talking about is coming in. And already progress is being made in terms of the numbers that are getting the licenses. But
wait, someone has asked, can we have just like a simple way of identifying? Because from a user perspective, again, really difficult to know who's licensed, who's not, even as you work on increasing those numbers, what happens in the meantime, because training and getting all these millions of riders into the system is going to take a while. So this is Jimmy Gakio, no, Sanixon Buru. Should NTSA come up with signs of identifying bodas, like similar to the yellow line on a matatu, to differentiate them from private bikers who are sometimes handled as if they are boda operators? But works for everybody, right? Easy to differentiate and know this is licensed, this person is licensed, this Boda is licensed, it's not a private biker, this is not some person just operating on their own. I can, anaweza nibeba kutoka hapa hadi Nyamakima or wherever I'm going.
Yeah, that's true, and it's something that we are dealing with. I'll give an example. The County Transport and Safety Committee of Nairobi County has gone ahead and enforced this, whereby we have about 3 zones. In these 3 zones, we have, this is circles classified into 3 zones operating in particular place with different identification. I think they have green, they have, I think, purple. And through these, these particular cooperatives, the leadership of the cooperatives would identify their members through the reflective jackets.
I have to be this person. If I'm coming into Nairobi today, I could just think that's a cute pink jacket. I don't know what
I don't have the information.
I don't have the information. And this is the National Transport and Safety Authority. So I'm looking at it from, not from a county perspective of a stage they wear pink, that stage they wear blue. From a national perspective, if I go to Kitui and I want to get on a Boda, how do I know this is a licensed operator? How do we make that happen?
No, as we speak, it's difficult to know. As we speak, it's difficult, and it's one of the things that we are trying to address through using these structures, because it's difficult to identify who is operating where. It's even very difficult to identify who is foreign, because when you speak to these riders, sometimes they'll tell you who doesn't belong, and these are some of the people who are creating the problems that we are having. So it's true, as we speak, that we are not able to identify, but then through this particular structure of county transport and safety committees, this is one of the things that is to be delivered, so that then the particular within a town or within a locality, then it's organized in terms of who is operating where. Yeah, through the registration, then we would be able to know that these particular circles would be able to operate here. and be able to work towards now identification, so that then it's clear to the public that this particular group with this particular identity are operating between this particular zone.
Yeah, another issue is the infrastructure. If you've spoken to it, it's not really cyclist friendly. And I know Kevin raised that as well.
Yes.
What is NTSA doing to try and work towards it? Because it's almost treated as an oversight, you know, so it's not cyclist friendly.
That's true. Besides, when we employ something called the safe systems approach, and this safe systems approach looks at the users, it looks at the motor vehicles and the motorbikes, and it looks at infrastructure. One of the area, like for Boda, where we are focusing more is on users. But besides that, then there is the issue of infrastructure. Is the infrastructure friendly? Is it safe? Okay, not just to riders. Does it exist in there? And we realize that there is quite a lot to do that needs to be done with infrastructure. And some of the things is, do they have a stop, an area that they can?
So what have you done? You have identified all those issues. So what have you done?
So what we are doing, Eric, what we are doing about this is again, working with the road agencies. Road agencies here, we have Kura, we are focusing on the towns. We have, again, not Kera, the counties themselves, because they are also responsible for the urban roads. Okay. And through this, then we push this agenda that they'll need to provide for these particular points to improve the...
So is it a requirement by NTSA that to Kura, that as you are doing your roads, you must designate bus stops, you must designate bike lanes? Is that a requirement? Is there anything that says, this is what we have told Kura?
Yes.
In our mandate on road safety, this is what you know you ought to do with the roads. Have you done that?
Yes.
Are they doing it?
That has happened, and they're doing it progressively, because we are seeing quite a number of changes by these road agencies to improve, and this is out of the communications that is happening between the agencies. And one of the things, I know we all know about the National Road Safety Action Plan, which has prioritized all these areas and clearly indicated what needs to be done and being implemented jointly, so that then each of these particular players have a role, and they have their clear responsibilities within the context of the National Road Safety.
In the action plan and in your daily reporting to work, Daktari, as the Director for Road Safety, look at that camera and speak to Kenyans and tell them when you hope to see these accidents on the roads as a result of Bodas reducing. That one.
Okay. So, Boda is, the motorcycles is a big challenge that we are trying to deal with, and we have put in place measures that should help us bring down these, reduce the fatalities associated with this. And like we said, that we've put in place the county transport and safety committees, which one of the things that we'll be dealing with is Bodas in issues of registration, in issues of organizing them, in issues of enforcement. And with that, we expect that we will see bigger change. We have a system in place for registration that will help us have a database of the riders, and not just the riders, but then help us to understand the issues within the sector, to be able to help strategize on that. We already...
Okay.
I think you've given us a roadmap, and we'll hold you to account for this. So we'll keep inviting you and asking, so you said this, how far are we? By June, we should have all this in place. How far are we? Dr. Andrew Kiplagat, thank you for joining us. Daktari is the Director for Safety, Road Safety at the National Transport and Safety Authority. We've been having a 2-hour conversation about the safety of Bodas. This is just the beginning. We'll start threading them into seeking to fix this particular issue. The next hour, we're giving a mic to Mike Shitemi. No, his name is Bright Shitemi, who is the CEO of Kikawa Movement. Shika Mike, he says we should improve